Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Education Society managed R.N.G Patel Institute of Technology, previously known as FETR, is one of Gujarat's leading institute based in Bardoli. The institute is recognized by AICTE and affiliated to Gujarat Technological University. The institute was established in the year 2010. The institute has 5 engineering streams: chemical engineering, civil engineering, computer science and engineering, electrical engineering, and mechanical engineering. The institute has 7 departments, including science and humanities and workshop. The institute has dynamic curriculum, robust and talented pool of faculty members, and state-of-the-art infrastructure in all the departments. It is well known for imparting quality education, active research, and also nurturing students for holistic development. Oriented learning. Recently, RNGPIT has started AICTE approved and Gujarat Technological University affiliated 3 years industry-oriented graduation program, Bachelor of Vocation on Skill Development Based Higher Education. The institute has 3 BVOC courses: BVOC in Software Development, BVOC in Production Technology, and BVOC in Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. The institute has organized 144 165 industrial visits, 90 workshops, 76 seminars, 32 STTPs, and 20 faculty development programs till today. The institute is proud of its academic results. RNGPIT is continuously securing top rank at state level and zone level in Gujarat Technological University. India's first common engineering facility center, governed by Setu Foundation, is being developed at our college campus. The institute has signed MOU with UGEC PowerMax Private Limited Vadodara for skill development, industrial training in wind energy, with Aspiring Minds Gurgaon for the job placement, for Trivedi Global Education Mumbai for the guidance of higher education in abroad, with E-Yantra IIT Mumbai for the development of robotic laboratory, and with Reliance Jio for the development of recruitment and training center in the field of ICT. Training and placement cell of the institute is active and alive. RNGPIT has organized 2 job fairs in the association with Directorate of Employment and Training, Government of Gujarat, and N.G. Patel Polytechnic. The institute has organized 2 IT job fair in the association with Surat IT Company Owners Association, SICO Surat. The institute has started SSIP cell for development of innovative projects and patent generation. Various projects done by our students have been presented at National International Expo and Enclaves. RNGPIT has established NPTEL local chapter for various online courses provided by IITs. Institute has run various skill development courses free of cost under Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana approved by National Skill Development Corporation. RNGPIT has developed Hansaben B. Poonawalla Vocational Training and Research Center with 14 advanced well-equipped laboratories. The institute has developed Tinkering Lab with the Association of Student Startup and Innovation Policy Cell, Gujarat State, in which students can enhance their knowledge in the field of IoT, robotics, artificial intelligence, 3D printing, calligraphy, and many more. The Chemical Engineering Department of RNGPIT is recognized as Schedule 1 Environmental Auditor by Gujarat Pollution Control Board Gandhinagar since 2012. The institute has around 40 industries allotted by GPCB for their audit work. NABL accredited Environmental Audit Consultancy Laboratory and Civil Material Testing Laboratory of the institute have acquired ISO 9001-2015 certification. There are many achievements done by faculties and awarded by gold medals. Every year, students have been facilitated with gold medals.
Hi, I'm Selenium and I'm a software engineer in Silicon Valley. I did my master's in computer science from California State University, Sacramento, and I did my bachelor's of engineering in computer science from FETR, which now known as RNGPIT. I have been asked to share my thoughts on a few key areas. So the first one was the campus life. So I can definitely say it was both fun and studies. Studies in the sense that we had to prepare for Viva, GTU exams, and for writing assignment. And another thing is the fun part was that we used to have two kind of activities. Like one is the Vishwasmriti, which I personally liked the most because it was of both, combination of both gaming activities and coding. And another one is the Kashish. So in that dancing, singing, and other cultural activities too. So it was very much enjoyable.
The institute has been awarded with the Appreciation Award for Green Campus at Energy Expo by South Gujarat Productivity Council. In our campus, more than 3,000 trees plantation and 194 number of solar panels with 65 kilowatt capacity for utilization of energy. Students are given full facilities of library with a collection of around 15,000 volumes, 4,000 titles, 30 national and international journals, and 30 magazines. The institute provides facility of book bank and digital library to the students. The canteen facility is situated within the college campus. All type of hygienic meals and snacks are available at subsidized rate. Our institute provides hostel facilities for our college students. Vishwasmriti, Cultural Festival Kashish, Sports Week, outbound training, and festival celebrations are carried out for students' welfare and growth. R.N.G. Patel Institute of Technology strongly believes in all-round development of the students who can shape the better future.
Very good evening to all the faculties and students of R.N.G. Patel Institute of Technology. I, Dr. Madhavi B, Head of Computer Science and Engineering Department of R.N.G. Patel Institute of Technology, welcome you all in this webinar. Computer Science and Engineering Department has organized the webinar series. In that webinar series, our today's key point or the expert talk is on software testing. I can say that this is the main part of as a software engineer. If you are developing any software and if you are an engineer of computer engineering or IT engineering, you should know this software testing. So in this webinar series, we have industry experts available, Mr.Brijesh Mistry and Mr. Pratik Pandya from Casepoint Private Limited, Surat. So from the whole CSE department of RNGPIT, I welcome you. I welcome both of you, PIT family. So now I request Professor Narendra Jagtap of Assistant Professor of CSE department to introduce our today's expert. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Narendra Jagtap, Assistant Professor from Computer Science and Engineering Department of R.N.G.PIT, Bardoli. I welcome you all for today's webinar on software testing. And for that, we have the eminent speakers with us today. Mr. Pratik Pandya is the team leader at Casepoint Private Limited, Surat, and Brijesh Mistry, Senior Software Tester at Casepoint Private Limited, Surat. Mr. Pratik Pandya has started his career in development and moving to quality assurance after 2 years and having 5 years experience and he is expert in Selenium, Devops and SDET. Mr. Brijesh Mistry is having 4 years of experience in quality assurance and currently working on automation test engineer profile. He is expert in testing methodologies, process implementation and web automation. Mr. Brijesh Mistry is alumnus of our CSE department of RNGPIT, and Mr. Brijesh and Pratik Pandya both are the co-founder of one non-profit community, Tech Innings, in Surat. They are arranging meetups, technical talks in Surat on software testing. Both the speakers having rich experience as a software test engineer and lead in the field of software quality assurance. So we can say they are software quality enthusiasts. So today we will have these eminent speakers. And today, Dr. Madhavi Desai, Head of Computer Science and Engineering Department, RNGPIT, is also with us as a panel member. So I hope this session will definitely and they will enjoy this session. So let us move towards the session. So I'm handing over to Brijesh Mistry and Pratik Pandya, sir. Please.
Okay, thank you so much, Anvijay sir. Uh, before we start, I would like to congratulate RNGPIT management and CSE department who has arranged more than 170 webinars, and it is really appreciated. So uh, let's start with today's session on software testing. So Pratik, can you just share your screen? Okay. Okay. The first slide is what is software testing? Yes. Okay, so let's begin. In the next 45 minutes, we will talk on what is software testing, skills required to become a good software tester, roles and responsibility of a software tester, career ladder, and hello.
Yes,
Yes,
carry on.
sorry. Yeah, yes, sorry. Career leader and the current trends and technologies used in software testing industry. So let's begin with the so what is software testing. First of all, software testing is not all about finding a defect, but I can say that taking an accountability and assurance for a quality of software that matches the expectation and fulfill all the essential of the given requirement. This is a primary job of a software tester to make sure that, and also ensuring the different facets like quality in terms of reliability, security, availability, and scalability. For an example, quality, uh, like
Mr.
what is hello.
Go with the slide so full slide slow. Yes, now it's perfect. Please continue.
Okay, now what is reliability in terms of software can work failure free for a particular period of time in a particular environment, which is called reliability. Then the security, it's a major concern nowadays because internet has changed our life drastically. More and more software, apps, and cloud services, more security concern will rise definitely, and which is one of the booming career in the software industry. Availability, like it measures the probability that software can run as required and when it required. So this is just availability. And the scalability, generally it is performed for hardware and database performance, like currently our software or application working with working fine with 1,000 user, but what if we will have more than 1,500 users? So what are the configurations, hardware configurations, precautions and steps need to be required? So this is the scalability. Okay, now the second point is correctness of requirement. Means you will be the first person or group who use this develop functionality. So some suggestions, feedback, improvisation of the functionality will discuss with the accountable person and assure that the functionality is working correctly. So this is a primary definitions, and you can also consider this responsibility of being a QA. So the third one is accuracy of functionality. I would like to take an example of a calculator. If I'm performing addition operation for 10 times, and at 11th time it gives me an error. So it's a flow in the code that somewhere might has looping issue, or functionality should work not properly. So it should work accurately all the time. So this is a accuracy of functionality. So I hope that now you can have a brief idea about software testing. So moving forward to the next slide. Myths. Okay, there are a lot of myths about software testing industry and for a software tester, but most common are listed. The first one, anyone can become a software tester. I don't think so. We all are using so many applications or a software in a daily life, but uh, if suggestions, feedbacks, or improvisations come from your end after using it, like this functionality is also achieved by some other way or find a defect. Yes, this is one of the quality of a good software tester, but those things can be done with a certain pace, accuracy, and speed for a number of years. So, which is really hard. And yes, moving forward to the second one, like one who doesn't end up coding lands in the software testing. So many student has a good academic score, but they cannot code in their academic period. So actually industry is evolving so fast and rapid, so we cannot survive only on the manual profile. So coding is not mandatory, but it is required. Yes, sounds confusing, but it is a fact of the industry. So the third one is limited domain of opportunity and growth. No way. There are a lot of independent software testing organization. Today, this is one of the career profile is booming in the industry. So there is a lot of plenty opportunity for this profile. So this is also one myth. And yes, this is my most favorite, that software testing is the easiest job in the IT. So I would like to add, like it's a big no from my side. Like if you are finding a defect on which someone has coded well, it may create a chaos. So being a software tester, soft skills, intellectuality, and emotional intelligence are most important thing. Like how you deliver the message to the person that are not finding a defect in his or her work. We both are working for a same project, and I'm not against your work. So it is very hard to keep your existence along with your development team. So yes, soft skill and hard skill are both required for this software testing. So which is not easy. Next is it doesn't get a good salary or perk. No, uh, if you are excellent and if you're having a good skill of set, then no worries. You company will ready to pay what amount you want, but skill set is mandatory. And next is it begins after software development. No, it start along with the software development. It's a traditional myth, but nowadays agile is introduced into the industry, and people are working with the agile methodology, and from the requirement gathering to the deployment of the requirement, and feedback of the requirement. The all phases are touching the testing activities, so which is also a myth. So moving forward to the next slide. Okay, software testing skills. Now, these are the asset of a software tester. So, first of all, as I said, uh, verbal and written communication skill, yes, it is one of the crucial skill for a software tester, because your sentence, your words and way of writing or speaking can trigger someone if it goes into the wrong directions. So your words and tones should be polite and has a general acceptance. So verbal and written communication is one of the important skill for a software tester. The second thing is passion. Yes, as I said earlier, you should not get bored after same cycle of testing. Your passion keeps you alive in the industry, like learning a new technology and applying in your work, which only comes through your passion. So, which is a fuel for, I think, which is a fuel for every profile, which is not mandate for software tester. It is mandate for software developer or any other profiles. So the next is technical skills. Yes, technical skills are like cherry on the top. If you have a good technical skills, you can work on a multi-profile designation easily. So, which is hello, hello, which is also mandatory skills. Then the next one is analytical skill. After finding a defect, like how, when, where, and what are the consequences of this defect, uh, it needs to be a good analytical skills, because you can take a accurate decision if you analysis it well. And yes, it is everywhere applied skill. It's also like a technical skill, analytical skill, and good communication skill. Now the one of the important skill is attitude. Like I can say attitude is everything. Tester must have a positive attitude, because politeness and positive attitude, because people will never accept you as a tester with a bad attitude, because bad attitudes is directly affect to the productivity and work environment of the organization. So which is very hard to keep the balance with teams and a person. Okay, so productivity. In terms of productivity, always try to ensure that quality of the software or application with minimal time and efforts. So, like we can say that practice makes man perfect. That so productivity is really mandate skill, because uh, at the end of the cycle, QA will ensure that the quality of a build or quality of a software, and always they work in a tight deadline. So maintaining a productivity in the pressure is a challenging thing. So which is a most important thing. And yes, these are the skills required to be a good tester. So moving forward to the next slide. Okay, advantage of software testing as a career. So daily challenges, like as I said, that there is a lot of soft skill and hard skill both combined with this profile. And you will get a daily routine challenges a lot. And also you need to take a dynamic decision. Sometimes you should take a decision, go through go out of the box and take a decision. And also on the decision you have to keep your words and take accountability and ensuring that the things are going correctly. So if you, and it's a thrill, like if you love to do, and if you are good in it, then these are the advantages. Then the flexibility and interactive, like, yes, as I can say earlier, like communication skill is most important thing in software testing profile. Then a flexibility, like you can have a chance to work with developer, then management, then stakeholder, then the actual end user. So it has a flexibility in the terms of various level of users you will work. So you should get the exact idea of a software. Okay, so the next is creativity. Yes. Uh, by studying approaches, by studying new methodologies, you can apply your creativity in your task, in your testing methods. So, and it is endless. You can apply your creativity infinite. So this is a one of the advantage, and it will not get you bored. So second last is, yes, highly paid job with great numeration. Yes, yes. Nowadays it is, after coming automation booming into the industry, it is a highly paid job and booming profile. So this is one of the advantage. Okay, so the next is, it involves many different career paths. Yes, this point will explain by Pratik Pandya in uh, uh, next few slides. Okay, so the next slide is moving forward to next slide. Okay, okay. Here we broadly categorized the tasting domain into the two major functional and non-functional tasting. Uh, will explain along with the next slide. Yes. Okay, so there are three basic phase, like label, method, and type. It is you can say it is a 10,000 feet a view. So it is a very high level. So I would like to take one example over here. Also calculator, like if you deep dive into the levels, like unit testing. Uh, if a calculator, a developer has code for addition into the calculator, development or development team or developer will test the same piece of code and integrate with a new one developed functionality. Like if if a developer has developed the functionality of addition and then added a new module of subtraction, so uh, the subtraction and addition will integrate and tested uh, along with. And at the end of the day, that the system testing, like for an example, a full-fledged calculator functionality, subtraction, multiplication, all the special functions and everything. So in system testing, like from beginning, like switch on the calculator, performing all the possible operations, and off the calculator, which called we can say it is a system testing, that we can touch each and every area of the application and make sure that everything is working fine and correctly. And the fourth level is acceptance. Actually, generally it is conducted by the domain expert and stakeholder. So they will perform a complex criteria which is actually performed by the users, and make sure that everything is working fine. So deep down into the methods, like as I say, black box testing is one of the technique of functional testing. And black box testing is what, when you get a UI, or when you will not deal with the code, but actual application and testing and doing operations manually with your keyboard and mouse, which is called, and there are a lot of methodology and methods in black box testing. So next is white box testing. White box testing is also code path testing, like a developer. It's similar to unit code. A developer uh, wants to make sure that whatever code is written by their side, which is fruitful and correct. So which is white box testing. In the non-functional testing, we can consider like performance testing. So in performance testing, Pratik will explain in few of the next slide. Okay, so type. Yes, it's a broad view, like manual and automated. As I said, that if you are performing your operations manually and make sure that the functionality is working correctly as per the expectation, manually, and record, like writing test cases and executing those test cases manually, and make sure that the application is working fine, so which is a manual approach. And in the automation, like whatever the monotonous job we doing manually, will automate those scripts, and through the scripts we will make sure that the functionality is working correctly. So these are the high level methods and types of software testing domain. Okay, so next. Okay, so as I said in the first, as I said first, just a second. As I said in okay, as I said in first slide, like manual testing is a part of is combined with a lot of sub part, and these are the categories of manual testing, like core functional testing, for an example, addition, subtraction. These are the primary basic functionality and the crucial functionality of a calculator. So these are the examples of core functional testing. Then the GUI testing, for an example, I'm pressing zero, but the zero is not placed on the right place, or not placed in the right way. So these are the GUI testing, which needs to be conducted manually. And the next one is database testing. Yes, every application produces a data through a user inputs. So create, update, deletes operations are there. So manually we can make sure that the whatever the information inserted into the system, which placed on a right table on a right place into the database. So this is a database testing. Then the usability testing, which is purely we can wear specs from user eye, and it's a user's perspective testing, like uh, color combinations, then the way of operations, then all the functionalities which are accessible and easily accessible from the user's perspective, we make sure in that usability testing. Then the regression testing, which means for an example, in calculator we developed addition and subtraction, but now we added one functionality of a multiplication. So because of the multiplication, that the subtraction and addition will not get affected. So we make sure that after adding a multiplication, the subtraction and addition is working fine and correctly. So that's what we doing in regression testing. And this is one of the monotonous job in the manual profile, like regression testing. Then sanity testing. In sanity testing, like we just pick one module, like for an example addition, and then we'll deep dive, we'll input all the possible way, and apply all the possible way, and input all the possible various inputs into the system, and try to explore it and make sure that the functionality or particular module is working fine. And the next is cross browser testing. Yes, I can say that the 50% jobs are creating because of the cross browser testing, because nowadays applications and websites are creating in a rapid way. So we cannot bind the user that with the device, or with the version of browser, or with the version of phone, or with the version of brand. Cross-browser testing is testing the same functionality in a different device, in a different browser, which means cross-browser testing. So the next is end-to-end testing, which is also a type of system testing, as I explained before. Okay. So the business process testing. In business process testing, uh, from the business perspective, the most area or most functionality to get the footprint of a user is called business process tracing. We just make sure that these are the functionality which are most used in the application, and these are the core business process of the application. So in that testing, we make sure uh, the business process is working correctly or not. And these all jobs are these all categories and these all activities are very monotonous, because as you know that in agile we are deploying rapid in 3 week, in 4 week a new build comes into the picture, and we'll do same things on a same software, so which creates monotonous. So for these things, software testing evolve a lot, and we automated all those monotonous job, and we'll see in few next slides, and Pratik Pandya will explain you uh, how
Okay.
this comes under the software testing automation. Thank you, Pratik, please.
Yeah. Okay. So am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. Till this many slides, you all must have been pretty much aware of what software testing is all as a domain. What are the different advantages of having software testing in your career path, and what types, methods, and levels of testing are being carried out when we talk about any testing of a software product. So till now you have known that, okay, so these are the manual testing activities that we perform on a daily routine basis, and as and when requirement comes, so we need to test out and we need to assure that the application is defect free, the application is meeting the specification of requirements, and it is working as expected with respect to client's expectation also. So along with all these things, Bridges has also used a term called agile. So it is one of the software development methodology. You know, waterfall, uh, the way classic life cycle model of developing a software. But that was too much old and traditional, and that would not work these days, because nowadays the people want things in a very rapid manner. So they want to see the development and the requirements being carried out after, let us say, a few weeks. So to fasten up that process, the development cycle model which has been adopted is agile. So what it has done is it has a major effect not only on the development but also on the software testing domain. Because as and when you develop something, you need to test out something. You cannot just release something on production without testing it thoroughly. Because if you do that, then it becomes the responsibility of a stakeholder, and that would, if go went wrong, or if go wrong, then that would definitely impact the prestige of a company. Okay, so that's why software testing plays a very critical role before anything goes into the production usage environment. So to remain in line with the agile methodology, to make our testing process faster, to remove the redundancy of monotonous processes in software testing, we nowadays we use a lot of automation testing. So there are a lot of automation testing tools available in the market. The one which is showcased over here is Selenium, which is an open source, widely used automation testing tool, a library, API library. Along with that, there are many other tool sets available, but this is one of the most widely used, and it has become a de facto standard when anyone wants to automate any web application. So as everything applies to manual testing, the same way it applies to automation testing. So it is up to the user, and it is up to the kind of, you can say, a team to filter out like what should be automated, because certainly automation has a set of criteria to meet. And if those criteria meet, then we can apply automation at all these different levels of testing. So starting with core. So let us consider a very simple example of your e-commerce application. So for any e-commerce application, the very core functional part would be logging into application, or something acting as a guest user, going to the product page, adding some products to the cart, and process the checkout page, and done. So this is a very critical part of the application. And why? Because you would see that many user footprints are being carried out throughout this cycle. So we need to kind of automate this user footprints, so that whenever something is changed, or whenever something new feature or some new feature is introduced into the application, we should always ensure that this part of the application are working fine without any hiccup. Because if they don't work fine, then the business will die. It will impact the business in a negative way. So we can do that. So that's why we should use automation testing to minimize the manual effort, to carry out better and quicker feedback, and allow our manual testing team who are good in domain to focus more on the newly implemented features rather than performing the same monotonous task again and again. So that way we can also apply on GUI testing. So if your domain is somewhere which is more graphics oriented, like theme creation application, image applications, then we can also kind of automate the GUI components. Like we can test the GUI components automatically, just to verify that after each and every build, or after each and every requirement which is getting integrated into the version control, the build which is generated is working fine as expected. So just like that DB, usability, regression, sanity, cross-browser, retrieve business. So all these areas, the way it is applied in manual testing, the same way it can be applied in automation testing. So it is you who need to decide as a software tester that what I should automate and what I should perform manually. Because if you filter out this deadly combination very finely, then I can assure that a majority of your software products will be tested in a very quick amount of time, and the management will have greater reports in hands to make any decisions further. So that's why automation testing came into picture, and Selenium is being used widely. And today there is one more concept called Devops, which we are going to see later on. So that has also made this particular phenomena the most crucial need having in the artillery of any software tester. And if you want to, or if you are eyeing your career in software testing, then I think you should eye on this also along with manual testing, because that would definitely put you in a dominant place and you can just go ahead with. So this is all about automation testing and why it should be done and where the industry is eyeing on. So going further is the performance testing. Now this is a non-functional testing part, and many times the people ask like why this particular testing is required and what is the need of it. So I can say you have seen IRCTC, the railway application. How many users book railway tickets in a day? There are thousands, lakhs of users. And if you have just gone ahead with your Tatkal quota booking, you have seen that there are many thousands of users booking in the Tatkal quota at the same time for a particular train. And it's not getting messed up every now and then, right? So that is where the performance testing plays a major role. You need to see the user load, like the number of users who will be accessing the application at the same time. You also need to stress out your application in terms of enhancing the number of users who will be using that application. So if I say that my application X will be used by 100 users, then it becomes an expected load, and I can perform the load testing to see that my application behaves correctly when there are 100 users loaded on my system. Either they're concurrently accessing the application or simultaneously accessing the application. Then we go ahead with stress testing just to see out that to what number of exact user my application can work, and the number at which it gets crashed. So that becomes our benchmark. So we need to focus on that benchmark, improvise. We can optimize the code, we can optimize the hardware at times, because the server on which the application is working and the hosted. So all these things all together, they are glued up and they make a lot of sense in the performance of an application, and that is very crucial in today's day. I can say that on an average it has been taken that if the application remains inaccessible even for 2 seconds, just for 2 seconds, the people will go to the other side. And today the people have so many alternatives available. So that's why this is again gaining a lot of importance. Spike testing. So with spike testing, what we do is like we just increment the load very suddenly, like from 100 to 1000, and the way we decrement the load suddenly, just to see how the application behaves. So it should not get crashed, it should not give any malicious behavior, and that's way it is applied. Soak testing. Soak testing is moreover applied at the system level of testing, just to see that if the application is being used by the number of users over a very large period of time, then it should be endurance enough to go ahead with. Like it is more towards memory utilization. So if the application is hosted on a server, and if the application is being used by 100 users over a day, then you know that for the very first hour of the day, the system memory utilization will be around, let us say, 20%. But as and when the application is being used throughout the day, it gets increased up to even 90%. So we need to see out these differences, and that's where the load balancer and many other concepts come into picture, and that's why performance testing of an application plays a very crucial role. We also need to look at the volume testing manner. Like volume testing is when you insert a number of data, like I'm inserting thousands of users in my application, then whether my database is handling that much amount, whether my application is interacting with the database even with that much amount. So that's way we need to see, because in today's nature, the applications are not built in a very core manner. You would not see all the calls made in the one class and everything is happening. There will be very fine granular level structures. So there will be a different business access layer, there will be a different UI layer, and all these things all together will be glued up. So we need to perform these things in a unit level and the integrated level and at the system level, just to see that yes, application is behaving what it is expected to do. Okay, so automation and performance, this both testing plays a crucial role today. And why we're discussing out on this is because it makes a lot of difference in a particular profile when they have this in their bucket. They can dominate in the market in terms of perks, in terms of salaries. So that's why they are so much important to be discussed. Okay, so what are the what can be the career ladder for a software tester? So if we go from a very basic, so we can fragment a particular into two ways. One is the person having good hard skills, and the person is having soft skills. Having both together will be icing on the cake. But if we just go ahead with one of this, like if a person is good at technical, then he can go into the development direction also. There is nothing like in software testing that a software tester can never be a developer. He can, because agile focus is on a cross-functional team member, and a person who is having good technicality, if he's good at coding, he should be coding. So a person can also write unit test code. If he's good at hard skills and he doesn't want to go into development, then he can also have a specialized position like a performance tester. So you require some type of scripting knowledge, like JMeter is one of the tools which is being widely used. Security testing, again, there are many tools out there in the market. So for security testing, one should also have the network knowledge, the particular software testing knowledge, and all these things together make up a good security tester. Usability testing, yeah, it also makes a lot of difference. Usability testing in a sense that how easy it is for any new user coming to your application and start accessing it. There should be, if there is a new user, there should be some guideline, directional guideline given to that user. If there are some errors, then the errors should be printed in a very normal human readable manner. There should not be any technical things. Even the clicks, the amount of clicks that the user has to press to come to a particular action, that should be minimalized, optimized. The placement of UI also makes a lot of difference in terms of accessing the application. If I can say personally, I believe that for me, as an e-commerce application, I find Flipkart much more usable than the Amazon application, because the kind of layout they have used, the kind of menu options they have kept, the cart, the favorites, everything. So that makes a lot of sense as a user to me, that I should be going towards that application much more rather than the other application. Both applications are serving me a lot of good things, and most totally they are serving the same line of things, but still this UI and usability concept makes a lot of difference to the user's behavior and pattern. And that's why usability testing is also one of the most comprehensive careers. Then one can go into test automation, which we have already talked about. And if a person is good at soft skills, then he can later on become a manager. So he can be a QA manager. He can also go into the business analyst. Yeah, as a software tester, what you do is like before the software development even starts, you interact with your stakeholders or the BAs at the time of requirement gathering. And software testing is carried out fundamentally in two different types. One is verification and one is validation. So verification is something that you verify the requirements. If there are any not so much clarity in the requirement, you just ask them out. If there are any defects in the requirement, you again bring them to the table, so that even before the application gets coded, you bring out, you refine that requirements to such a level that it, in a way, reduces a lot of load that could be incurred while validation testing. So at the time of actual application testing, so if the software tester is involved and he is passionate about requirements gathering, he can also join business analyst, which is a client-facing profile who brings the requirement to the table, frames the requirement, and gets the requirement developed. So as a software tester, it is not a limited domain. It is a very wide domain. It is not just a bunch of few technology that we talk about, because even I have worked as a developer and I know many of the languages. But when I go into the software testing field, I can see there are many ample of opportunities available. So it is up to the individual to decide on which career path to choose. And I can assure you that if you are focused and if you have this many skill sets in your artillery, then no one can stop you going in the market. Yeah, so we talked about Devops. So I'll just give a very brief view of what Devops, because we have kept Devops in with respect to software testing, and it is one of the current trends in the software industry. So development and operations are all glued together. So whatever you code, you plan, then you code, you build, you test, you deploy, you monitor. So all these processes are automated, and there are so many DevOps solutions available. Like you must have heard the tool of Jenkins, which is a continuous integration server, then Azure DevOps, which is a fully functional DevOps server. So all these tools help you to automate your processes, and so that your application can be built fastly, can be tested fastly, and it can be, if everything is fine, then it can also be automatically deployed onto the server of your specification. So why do we need to do software testing? Because as we have seen that as and when you code anything, it has to go under a software testing cycle just to ensure that it is working fine as expected. So if we go with the traditional approach, then in DevOps it won't work, because DevOps require a lot of automation, and that's why automating different types of testing playing a lot of important role. And shift left and shift right, there are two approaches. So suppose if application has been coded, it has been deployed onto the QA environment, and now my testing team has started testing. So this is kind of shift right. I'm waiting for the application to be deployed onto the QA environment, and then I'm doing the things. But there are different levels of testing which could have either been carried out because they do not require any UI, like unit testing, like API testing. This could have been done, and this could have verified the build also. So that would have let me know, okay, if I should further go with my UI level testing or not. Okay, so that's why we need to make a shift towards left. So as and when your application is coded, then some good number of unit tests, some good number of API tests should run just to ensure that the application build is healthy enough to go for further testing. And if it's healthy, then the further level of testing are being carried out. And that phenomena is known as continuous testing. As and when the code is integrated into the control, it should be tested, verified, and deployed. So that process, that repetitive process should be automated, and that is the major heart of DevOps. So how it does, so let us say there are two developers who have some checked in code. So the code goes into a source control server. Let us consider as TFS or GitHub for now. From the over here, it patches the changes. So we have a DevOps server over here. So what it does, it first builds the application. If there are no build error, then it will execute some number of tests. So let us say some good amount of unit tests are being run executed, API test are being run executed, and then it checks for its outcome, whether it is if there are many tests which have failed, then it should notify the manager as well as the developer that this many tests have failed, and it will fix up these defects. And if it has succeeded, then again it will notify the same amount of line members, and then they can take up a call. So this way the process has become a lot of faster. And if we just go ahead with a traditional approach, then it would not work, because we need the feedbacks in a very quick manner. So we need to automate testing, and we cannot just let out our application being onto production without testing. So we need to find out a way, and Devops is an answer to it, where we can apply the levels of testing, like unit API can be carried out right after the build, and once the application is deployed onto the server staging environment, then some good number of UI-centric, core functional UI-centric tests which have been automated, can be carried out, just to see that from the UAT perspective everything is working fine. That is user acceptance testing. So that's why in the picture of Devops, the testing has evolved a lot, and there are many types of testing which have gained a lot of importance. So we have till now talked about many skill sets. What are the cons, pros, having software testing, career ladders, and everything over and here. So what can be the importance of software testing? So this is a graphical representation from the month of June to the December. An application which goes without testing and an application which goes with testing. So you can see the red mark line and you can see a blue mark line, and the difference at the end of December, that is 228%. So this difference showcases the quality deficiency in an application. So if I go with my red line marked, then the quality of my application was so much outlined that it would harm my prestige, it would harm my product, and my product will never be used by the number of users. If I go with a good testing over a period of time, then I can see the enhancement in the overall quality of an application. So the application quality enhances the acceptability of an application in the market. A user cannot be given anything into the market. He's right in today's market, every user is skillful enough, every user is wise enough. They go here and there, there are plenty alternatives available, and they want the quality. They will just not accept any scrap, and that's why your any other hardware product, your software should be tested, and it should be tested thoroughly to ensure that it is of the best quality and the people are getting what they should want. Because just if we take an example of any payment application, it is a very crucial application. So if something goes wrong, if you are trying to transfer fund from your account to the other account, but it gets transferred to some Y account, then you definitely get frustrated. You would never utilize that application. It will lose its accountability. So these are the many crucial parts of any software. And considering those parts, the different types of testing are being carried out, and that makes a lot of importance. Having software testing, if you have gone with thoroughly your SDLC, software development lifecycle, then software testing itself takes up 40% of total weightage. So in the 60%, everything comes, like requirement felicitation, design, code, deployment, everything comes, maintenance, everything. But your 40% is acquired by software testing, and that is why it is acquired by software testing. And believe me that there are so many opportunities over there in the market for a good software tester. Just like coding is an art of work, software testing is also an art of work, and it is not an easy job. But if you like challenges, you can have this domain expertise, you can have the technical expertise, and you can boom the market in this profile. And this is showcasing the software testing evaluation over a period of time. So if you can see, like 90s to 2001, it was a very functional black box testing. There was no automation, no performance, only simple. Even the nature of the application was too much simple over there, because the market was still evolving at that period of time. Then from 2001 to 5, when it came with the waterfall model, it became all about metrics driven, like 2006 to 2009. By that time, it all became metrics driven automation. So the people tried to find out some core sense of the application, and they tried automating. So like in Selenium came in 2000, and it changed the market. Even before that, the HP QDB came into picture and also enhanced this automation thing. Then from 10 to 13, Agile has gained a lot of importance, and because of Agile, the testing has moved to a lot of left. So shift left concept came into picture to speed up the quality assurance and to minimize the efforts and the cost of building an application or testing an application. And if we consider from 14 to this date or the future, then everything is eyeing on DevOps. Yeah, business outcome driven. So yeah, BDD, behavior driven development, behavior driven testing, DevOps, software development engineering test. So even this profile has gained a lot of importance, like Google, Amazon, these companies have coined this particular terminology called SDET, software development engineering test. So a person who is good in technical, a person who is thorough in testing, who can code the testing tools, like who can develop the testing tools which are being utilized by other testers to evaluate a software quality of an application. So this is where the entire market is trending over. So it's not that in when you jump into software testing you don't have to code. It's up to you. Like even having a good domain expertise will always dictate, will always let you in a dictation position. But having a good technical skill sets along with testing knowledge and domain expertise will put you far more beyond. So I believe that software testing has a lot of opportunities, and if a person wants to make up a career, they can definitely go ahead with. And these are the statistics of top testing tools like Selenium, JMeter. Selenium is for test automation, JMeter is for performance, Agile Load, RedMine, AppKM is for mobile automation. So this is the kind of statistic which is acquired by these tools in the latest trends of the market, the way the industry is using. So the tools having the knowledge, having thorough knowledge in software testing, the domain expertise, the technical skill sets will put you in lead, and you will definitely get handsome salaries and perks, and you'll dominate the market in that sense. So yeah, I think that's it from our end. But we are open up to see and answer the questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Pratik Pandya and Mr. Brijesh Mistry for discussing on this topic, software testing. Definitely this session, those who have viewed this session, they are definitely helpful. Means it helpful for them. So now let us have the panel discussion and answer the questions which are asked by the audience during the session. So the first
Yeah.
question which I have seen in the comment box, that is it possible if someone wants to work in software industry but don't want to code?
Yes, I can say that in 2015, I have scared of a coding, but nowadays I do code and I used to code. But I think there are so many profiles in the software testing, in the software industry, uh, which can be lies on the coding. But I can say yes, coding is required in software if you want to work in a software industry. So coding skill is definitely required in any terms, like doing a coding or understanding the coding. Yes.
Yeah, right. The second question is same like that. Can we do automation without coding?
Yeah, you can do. There are many tools available in the market, like Catalan, Tricentis, Tosca, Test Complete Studio. There's so many tools available in the market. But as we see that the tools which do not have the coding platforms or minimal coding platforms, they are majorly, first of all, commercialized. So you have to pay a good amount of hefty fees for them. So it is not possible for every organization to pay those amount of fees. Moreover, the organization and the current software industry is going towards open source. Even if you have seen that Microsoft is opening up a lot, it has opened up its 2019 community edition of the Visual Studio. So Selenium is one of the favorites tool of test automation that is going to dictate the market. And having technical expertise in hand will always lead you in terms of non-coding platforms also, because you know how the code works, and anything which is put in the front is always having some code at the back. So having a thorough knowledge of coding will put you in lead. But yeah, in test automation, there are good tool sets available.
Yeah. Uh, there is another question: how to manage monotonous work?
Yes. Hello.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah. How to manage monotonous work?
Yeah, as Pratik said that we should automate all those monotonous work like regression, all the suits, regression suits, MOOC suite, sanity suits, and
Right.
keep the room and create a room for a manual tester for out of box testing and exploratory testing. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Dr. Madhavi Desai is also with us, so I just want to ask Madhavi ma'am that what is the importance of software testing in academic, and how the students are practicing it, this software testing during their academic tenure.
Of course, software testing, I can say that this is a step towards to identify your quality of the software. Okay. And with that, I would like to answer of the first question also of this panel that someone has asked that is it required to code to become a software tester? Because if we will not uh,
Right.
code, if we will not code ourselves, how we will try to identify the bugs available into this. So whenever we want to identify
Exactly.
something or we want to work something with that, first of all, we need to test ourselves. Okay, so that is the first important thing. So I think if you want to be a good software tester, this is the first step. Actually, you should do a software programming. You need to take your own software. You need to identify the bugs. Okay, so this is required, I think, to become a software tester. And in academic point of view, if I can say, we have the subject
Yes.
available in software engineering also. In that also, we are trying to give the concept of the software testing. And in all the other, they are during their academic career, they are doing the projects in design engineering. They are doing the projects in the even in the project work of the whole year, and other real time projects also they are working. In that, they need to go through a software testing, obviously. But actually, I feel that we miss. Actually, we have planned in the last semester to go through a 2 days of the workshop regarding the tools of the software testing from the industry experts, and we missed that. I think we can take chance during this time. So we will try to arrange some workshop every year for the students regarding the tools from the industry only. The experts came and they tried to explain our students regarding this software tool, at least Selenium. So I wish we will contact Mr. Brijesh and Mr. Pratik first to go through this workshop, and if they are busy, then we will try to contact the other. So please help us and help our students regarding this.
Definitely.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Because we faculty will explain, but if the industry person and even that our alumni, they will explain, they will more concentrate on all these things, and they will definitely take it in a serious manner. So in the whole this live platform, I request and I request to both the expert regarding this software testing. Let's organize something regarding software testing, at least 2 days workshop for this.
Sure. Sure.
Sure. I would just like to add a note if I can, like before
Yeah,
this
yeah,
session
sure.
ends. Yeah. First of all, I am thankful to the RNGPIT faculty for providing me a platform to share my experience to all the students who are definitely going to become a software entrepreneur of tomorrow. So thanks a lot. and we are feeling humbled. And I believe that Brijesh will also agree with me that if we are required for any of our assistance with regards to software testing or software things, will be kind enough to go ahead with. So thank you so much.
You're muted.
Jagtap sir, you are muted. Jagtap sir, your voice is not coming. Hello?
Your mic is mute.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Hello. Is it okay?
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for giving the answers of the questions we were asked by the viewers. So let us finish this session with the word of thanks. And on behalf of our institute, RNGPIT, I would like to extend our heartfelt appreciation to Mr. Pratik Pandya and Mr. Brijesh Mistry for sharing his knowledge and experiences during this webinar. I also want to thank our full management of RNGPIT, Principal Sir Dr. Madhavi B and Dr. Madhavi B Desai, HOD, CSA Department, for guiding us and motivating us for this webinar. I also thank the coordinator of this live session, Ms. Patel ma'am, Assistant Professor of CSA Department, to allowing us to go live on this particular platform. And lastly, I thanking to all the participants, our students, faculties, and also thanks to our alumni students who have actively participated and has spared their valuable time for attending this webinar and make this webinar interactive and successful. So thank you everyone. Stay safe and be healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.